today's video, I'm going over the top 5 best tips and tricks in a Rise crossover. But before we go and do that, would you guys like yourself a chance to win a free game pass? All you gotta do is drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment your Roblox username down below. I pick a one lucky winner each video. Anyway, guys, without further ado, let's get on with the video. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with some basic tips at the start, then we're gonna go into super hard ones. These basic tips actually can help you progress through the game that extra bit easier, and that is a little bit of a hidden feature called auto destroy. Now, if you go ahead and you click on the settings wheel, and then if you scroll down to auto destroy, you actually get this for free without a game pass. What you want to do is you want to click open on it, and you want to click X on all the units you basically don't care about, the ones you're not trying to get. Do be aware this will destroy all of them instantly, and what this means is actually a really cool feature. So I've got a bunch of different things. If I make sure it's on ants just for a second, of course, we are all the way over here, and then we have to make sure it's on. Just let's press a few buttons to do this. Okay, auto rise is disabled. It will disable auto rise. That means now when I go ahead and beat one of these ants, it should automatically go ahead and break it down, and it does. And this means if you are AFK and trying to level up some units or anything, and you don't want to be constantly pressing auto destroy, especially if it's an E rank unit you have zero intention of obtaining, you can actually do this. And even if you don't get all your shadows down, or do I have no shadows equipped? That's a possibility. Well, we get all our shadows equipped, and then go to the other unit, and you can just move on to the next one, as it will automatically go ahead and destroy the units for you. And this is just really helpful for getting gems, and it's just something you do very passively. Now, the other one is basically the exact opposite of the setting, which is hidden. I wouldn't say as hidden, but this is the lock feature in the game. Now, if you are trying to use the lock feature normally, you know you can lock your units when you get them, but the actual way this becomes really broken is if you go ahead, click on menu, click on index, and then go ahead and click on auto lock. So when you're auto destroying things, you can X them out here. I actually don't have them ants down there, but you can also auto lock units. So if you know you get an ant queen and you don't want to sell it, if you get a monarch and you don't want to sell it, whatever units you've already obtained, it's a little bit annoying. You do have to have already obtained them at least once to be able to lock them. But you can lock the units you actually care about. And this means now, no matter what, as soon as you get the unit in your inventory, it'll automatically just become locked, which is kind of helpful. If you don't know what locking does, it basically stops you from accidentally deleting them, especially as when you start off the game. You're going to be needing to get a bunch of different units, and you may notice you get a bunch of units you really don't care about, so you just want to go and sell them really quick. But you don't want to accidentally when you're selling units. I mean, it's quite hard to do in my inventory. There's quite a lot of units in it, but it's very easy to do, and trust me, it may or may not happen to me before. You can delete an S rank unit, or you can delete a rare unit in a matter of seconds. This unit could have taken you days to go ahead and obtain, and you can delete it in a second. So it's very good when you get it to go ahead and just have auto lock on. So you're normally deleting any units you actually go ahead and care about. Now, the next one is going to involve us going over to leveling city. And this is something that I feel like a decent amount of players do know about, but it's not as many as should. And I just realized I know my dragon equipped. So it's cool to get our dragon equipped. By the way, it's so hard. I'm trying to find just 5 tips that is good for this video. So hey, I know if the video gets, let's give a like goal of 100 likes. I will actually make a part 2 where I do the top 10 best tricks for the game. And then I know I'll probably do some sort of goal in that video for the top 20 best tricks for the game. But anyway, let's go over to leveling city. And by the way, these are kind of the more, some of these are basic. There's 2 really good ones at the end that I don't think most people know about. Actually, I'll be very sure if like barely anyone knows about. People definitely will, but these ones are the more obvious ones. They just help out a ton. It's just obvious, doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Anyway, if you go over to the shadow upgrader like I did right now, you can actually go ahead and get SS rank units for pretty much no effort. Now, I'm not sure about to do on any of these units, and what you need to get your SS rank unit is you need 1 of every single rarity. Trying to find one we have a few of. So if we have an Emmanuel and S, we have an Emmanuel and A, B, C. I don't have one in D, but we have one in E. And if we had one in D as well, let me turn this into an SS rank unit. So this basically actually just gives you a use to go ahead and do different gates. Of course, for the E rank, D rank, and the C rank, as long as it's not a boss, you can obtain it in the normal game. So E is just for going and being any of the ones and arising them. If you get lucky, you get a D, or if you beat any of the big brutes, and the big brutes, if you're not sure what they are, these are these big chunky guys over here. They will automatically be a D. But if you go ahead and you get a little bit lucky, you can get a C version of them. So that means without even having to do any rifts to begin with, you can get a C, D, and an E version of a unit. And if you go into a C gate, if you get lucky, you can get Bs. So you can either do a C or B gate to get Bs. in a B gate. So if you just want to do all of them and only focus on B gates, you can get the B units, and you may be able to also go ahead and, if you're lucky, again, an A rank for a B rank one. It's 150 per B rank. Basically, you only need to do 2 different dungeons. So you could just do all of these from normal, and then you could do a B rank dungeon and get lucky, get B ranks, A ranks, and you just need to then get S ranks. Or you could do a B rank dungeon, and then you do an A rank dungeon and get lucky in an A rank dungeon. Or you just do all of them. I don't know, it depends how you want to do it, but you can do that a little bit of a cheaty, easier way to obtain them. Or you can just do all the separate dungeons. I don't know, especially for bosses, you do that if you want. Anyway, let's go to the next tip. Now, this next tip actually helped me progress a ton in the game when I very first started. And this is basically, I can't really give the best example of this, because I don't have any friends with me, at least at the moment. But let's make sure we have some really bad units on. So when you start the game to begin with, first thing for the game is probably your hardest thing you're finding to go ahead and do, as it does just take a lot of time. But let's put some about like an E rank and soldier on. So you'll be trying to beat the unit, but well, what people don't know, as long as you've done, and it's around 5%, I don't know exact percentages, 5% of the total damage of the unit, if you want to be safe and you have 10%, you can auto-arise that unit. So if you manage to find something in an S rank dungeon, and then as long as you've done 5% of the damage, you've got a friend, so it can be another player just coming in and just completely wiping out, even if they take out a second, as long as you've done at least 5%, and if you want to be really safe, you do 10%, you can auto-arise that unit. What this can mean is you can scale a ton through the game if your friend's helping you out. Which I suppose you can argue this tip is either saying have friends. No, the main part of this tip is basically you don't actually need to destroy the unit fully to arise it. You don't have to do the majority of damage. Multiple people can arise the same unit. That's how people do it for bosses. Anyway, I thought this was a very important one, as this one can get overlooked, and it is genuinely really effective. Because, of course, so let's say then somebody else wanted to come in and save this, they could do it. Honestly, I would only need to get a few hits, and your game progression will at least, I would say double, but it's probably not over double, because how scaling works in this game, as you're going to be able to do S rank dungeons early on, or at least if you get lucky. Honestly, you may need stuff like B ranks, but at least B ranks are going to make it easier for you to do more in the future. Anyway, though, let's go on to the fifth and final tip of this video. So this next tip is probably the biggest tip I'm going to go and show you guys in this video, and I have missed some obvious tips. The whole point of this video was to go ahead and just go over the 5 that I thought were the most important to me, at least personally, and the ones that I think players that are going ahead and progressing through the game will find very useful. So I suppose more for the newer players as well. I can make a separate guide just for newer players or just for pro players, or I just do a guide where I just do a bunch of tips. I have already made like a starter guide to the game, so if you want to check that out, you are welcome. This tip, though, is the biggest tip in my opinion. And now, so an island, not an island, a raid, it's just went ahead and spawned over here. If we have a look, it is a, what raid is it? It's an A rank raid. So if you manage to do it, and especially on places in Grass Village, you can speedrun them pretty fast. And then when you go to speedrun them, let me just quickly go ahead and speedrun it. It's now that I've done that dungeon, which took me about 1 minute. Most people don't know this, but you can actually go back up to your dungeon, and you can just spend currency to do it again, which sounds kind of broken, and it kind of is. So you can do 15 Robux, but you don't want to do that because you don't pay to win, even though it's cheap. No. You use 15 tickets, which again, you don't want to do because that's just a waste of tickets. You can just spend 50,000 gems. And if you played this game, I haven't really made a video on it, but I've done like a starter guide. Well, honestly, if you played this game, you just know how easy gems are to get. And I was just scale, S ranks do cost a bit more, and depending on the area as well, kind of an effect. But you can just go ahead and you can do the dungeon again. And you can do this in an infinite amount of times. Of course, dungeons will last for 15 minutes after they spawn. But I'll go ahead and show you guys. You can just spend gems and boom, you can do the whole dungeon again. I know it says a little longer. It literally like a minute though to do the dungeon. Maybe a minute and 15 seconds. So you do dungeons multiple times, which means if you didn't the boss first try, you can try it again and again. I've used this to go ahead and paint some bosses really easily. And Grass Village, for some reason as well, these are the super fast and super easy dungeons to do. That's the reason I've got so many S rank doors and A rank doors, because of course I've probably only got one of these every, like, I know 4 or 5 runs, but because every time a dungeon appears, I can do it like 6 times, maybe not 6 times, depending on the dungeon. Fair, this is quite a small one, that's how I managed to do it fast, but depending on the dungeon, you can get multiple runs in. Anyway, guys, I hope you found this video useful, and like I said, 100 likes, and I'll do a top 10 tips. Anyway, guys, see you next one, bye.